Hello, thank you for joining us on Aso Briefing today. I am Joy and our top stories. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu orders prompt investigation into allegation on PFIPC, says unknown to government. Senate seeks urgent diplomatic action over xenophobic attack on Nigerians in South Africa. And on business, FCT IRS launches digital tax platform to boost compliance. You're watching Aso Briefing. We are live on DSTV channel 392, also on StarTimes TV channel 127 and Free TV channel 507. We are also on the UHF band on channel 38. Now we'll take you to all our stories. President Bola Tinubu has urged the African Export-Import Bank, Afreximbank, to intensify effort to mobilize Africa's human, financial and natural resources to accelerate the continent's industrialization and economic transformation. Speaking on Tuesday while receiving a delegation from Afreximbank, led by its president and chairman of the board, Dr. George Elombi, at the State House in Abuja, President Tinubu said Africa must move beyond discussions to practical actions that promote industrial growth, value addition, trade expansion and job creation. The president said his administration's economic reform, including the removal of the fuel subsidy and the unification of the foreign exchange market, were necessary measures to curb corruption and strengthen the economy.
Continue to ask, what is the level of our professional and intellectual curiosity to bring about that economic development program? That is what I look at in you when I mobilize the support to support your chairmanship, holding you to task on that. Of Africa cannot end in theoretical discussion.
In his remark, Minister of State for Industry, Senator John Owa-Eno, said the administration's 8-point renewed hope agenda was repositioning Nigeria for sustainable economic growth through investment in solid minerals, manufacturing, agriculture, oil and gas, the digital economy, and value-added exports. Afreximbank Dr. George Elombi thanked President Tinubu for his support during his election and disclosed that the bank has invested between $15 billion and 20 billion naira in Nigeria over the past 5 years across trade, healthcare, agricultural processing and value chains. He also announced a $2 billion commitment to Nigeria's cotton and garment industry and highlighted the bank's investment in the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, the Kano-Maradi Railway Project, and the African Medical Center of Excellence in Abuja. Now, President Bola Tinubu has ordered the Independent Corrupt Practices and Order-Related Offences Commission, the ICPC, to investigate the activities of the so-called Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council, describing the body as fictitious and unknown to the federal government. The president directed the Anti-Corruption Agency to conclude its investigation within 30 days and submit a comprehensive report. The directive followed the discovery that the council was never established by law, executive approval, presidential directive, or any other lawful government process. According to the presidency, one Adeyemi Matthew falsely presented himself as the Director General of the organization and claimed to be a presidential appointee. The investigation will examine alleged forged appointment letters, fake government documents, and claims used to obtain official recognition, diplomatic support, and visa felicitation. The ICPC is also expected to investigate the alleged opening of multi-bank accounts in the names of purported government agencies, trace the source and movement of funds, and determine the involvement of any public officials, financial institution, or other collaborators who may have facilitated the scheme. President Tinubu has directed all ministries, departments and agencies to cooperate fully with the investigation. He stressed that the integrity of the presidency and government institutions must be protected from impersonation, forgery and abuse of official identity, while directing that anyone found culpable should face the full weight of the law. Now, still happenings from the State House, President Bola Tinubu has commissioned the new transitway N2 corridor linking Abuja's Central Business District with Wuse, declaring that the Federal Capital Territory is no longer a city of abandoned project. Represented by the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, at the inauguration held at the to mark the FCT's 50th anniversary and the third year of the renewed Hope administration. The President described the road as a major economic corridor that will ease traffic congestion, reduce travel time, and stimulate business activities. But the President said he had directed the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Ezenwonye to restore Abuja's master plan and deliver visible results to residents. He commended the Minister for exceeding expectations and stressed that under the renewed Hope agenda, projects are funded, monitored and completed, ending the era of abandoned contracts. FCT Minister Barrister Ezenwonye attributed the rapid pace of infrastructure development to President Tinubu's decision to remove the FCT administration from the Treasury single account. According to him, the move now allows the administration to access commercial banks, loans using its internally generated revenue as collateral, providing the financial flexibility needed to execute major projects. Wike also disclosed that he had initially doubted the contractor's ability to complete a project on schedule, but later commended the firm after significant progress was made. He assured residents that newly completed roads would be reflected on digital navigation platforms, including Google Maps, to improve accessibility. Now, the Executive Secretary of the Federal Capital Development Authority, Engineer Richard Dauda, said the transitway N2 was awarded in October 2025 and completed within 9 months. He explains that the dual carriageway constructed by Lavent Construction Limited features 2 bridges, solar-powered streetlights, pedestrian walkways, drainage systems, and a central maiden reserved for future road transportation, making it the first major transit corridor of its kind in the FCT. Now let's take you to the Green Chamber. The Senate, has called for urgent diplomatic intervention over the renewed wave of xenophobic attack, intimidation, and anti-foreigner vigilantism targeting Nigerians and other African nationals in South Africa. The resolution followed the consideration of a motion sponsored by Senator Aso Briefing, who expressed concern over reports that anti-migrant groups issued an ultimatum directing undocumented foreign nationals to leave South Africa by June 30, 2026. According to the motion, the expiration of the ultimatum was followed by widespread fear, demonstrations, displacement, and attacks on foreign-owned homes and businesses. The Senate also noted that despite repeated attacks on Nigerian-owned businesses in South Africa, South African companies operating in Nigeria, including MTN and DSTV, have continued to operate without reprisals, describing Nigeria's response as one guided by restraint, African solidarity, and respect for the rule of law.
Is concerned that while Nigerian-owned businesses in South Africa have been attacked, looted, or closed or abandoned under threat, South Africa origin enterprises and brands, including MTN, MultiChoice, etc., have continued to operate successfully and lawfully in Nigeria. The Senate affirms that Nigeria has chosen the path of restraint, African brotherhood, and respect for the rule of law by rejecting reprisals against South African nationals and lawful commercial interests in Nigeria. Regrets that subsequent developments, including the voluntary repatriation of Nigerians and the expiration of the 30th June 2026 ultimatum, indicate that previous interventions have not provided sufficient protection or a lasting solution.
Now, supporting the motion, Senator Wasiu Eshilokun proposed that the federal government consider nationalizing South African-owned companies operating in Nigeria, with the proceeds used to compensate Nigerians who have suffered losses from repeated xenophobic attacks.
South African businesses in Nigeria, like MTN, MultiChoice, etc., should be nationalized, and the proceeds/shares be used to pay Nigerians and Nigerian businesses who have suffered losses in the xenophobic attack in South Africa.
However, former Senate Majority Leader Senator Yahya Abdullahi urged caution, warning that the matter involved complex international and domestic political considerations that required careful handling to avoid unintended diplomatic consequences.
Mr. President, what is happening today in South Africa should not be misconstrued or seen mainly from its outside appearance. What is happening today, at the risk of being unpopular here, is a coordinated effort to destabilize that country, to remove the African National Congress from power. First, from the former white minority government, with the aid of the United States of America, where former apartheid rulers have complained that they are being oppressed, forgetting the more than 100 years of oppression that they have meted to black South Africans. On the other side, there's a mobilization. Now on the black side, mainly from former President Zuma and the Inkatha, to delegitimize South African government with the support of other African countries. The position of those people who are now xenophobically attacking other Africans has a political purpose. And the purpose is to delegitimize the government, first from the right wing of the white South Africans, and now coming from the black ones. This situation could be very, very dangerous for this country if we don't recognize the alliance that is coming to destroy the ruling party in South Africa.
After deliberations, the Deputy President of Senate, Jibrin Barrow, who presided over the session, referred the motion to the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs for further legislative scrutiny and directed the committee to submit its report in the Senate for further action.
I said earlier that there's a need, in view of what Senator Abdullahi told us, that we should allow our Committee on Foreign Affairs to investigate. Nigeria is the giant of Africa. We lead in Africa. We lead, whether anybody likes it or not. We set the pace. We set the pace. So being the leading country in Africa, we need to lead by example. I think we need to allow that committee to investigate, look at the entire scenario, the conspiracy angle to what is happening, and once we've gotten the necessary information, well-informed facts, then we can take action in line with what you've said.
Now, the Public Account Committee of the House of Representatives has directed the Accountant General of the Federation, the AGF, Mr. Shamsuddin Ogunjimi, to appear in person on Monday, 13 July 2026. Chairman of the committee, Mr. Bamidele Salam, and other members during sitting on Tuesday at the National Assembly expressed deep concern at the non-responsive attitude of the AGF, describing his conduct as unbecoming of the country's chief accountant. The committee made reference to repeated failure of the Accountant General to honor invitations or provide critical document required in the conduct of oversight and other constitutional responsibilities of the committee, and issued what he described as a final invitation. Now, the committee, in a related development, also issued final invitations to 6 ministries, departments and agencies, the MDAs, whose accounting officers have repeatedly failed to honor previous invitations. These include the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, Federal Cooperative College, Ibadan, Koko, Research Institute of Nigeria, Federal Ministry of Education, Federal Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology, and the Federal Ministry of Police Affairs. The affected officers are to also appear before the committee unfailingly on Monday, July 13, 2026. Failure, the chairman, Mr. Salam, warned would force the committee to invoke all constitutional and parliamentary measures available to compel compliance. Mr. Salam reiterated the committee's commitment to strengthening transparency, accountability, and prudent management of public resources in line with its constitutional mandate. Well, we'll take a pause now. When we return, more stories from the Area Council. Please stay with us.
From June 11th till July 19th, everything fit way. The FIFA World Cup 2026 go happen. Touchlight all 104 matches on top 4 correct channels. Sharply grab your GoTV decoder, GoTenna plus 1 month dolly for only 15,000 naira. Live on Super Sport, only on GoTV.
Now, the chairman of Kwali Area Council, Mr. Nuhu Daniel Kwali, has approved the appointment of Honorable Bawa Magaji Muhammad Pai as the new council secretary. The appointment was announced in a statement personally signed by the chairman and made available to Aso Radio and Television in Abuja. Honorable Bawa Magaji Muhammad Pai, who served as council secretary under the immediate past administration of Mr. Danladi Chia, was reappointed in recognition of his dedication, loyalty, commitment, and outstanding service to the council. He was called on political appointees to emulate the exemplary qualities of the new council secretary by demonstrating commitment and selfless services towards the development of Kwali Area Council, the Federal Capital Territory, and Nigeria a whole. The chairman also urged Honorable Pai to sustain the commendable performance he demonstrated during the previous administration and strive to achieve an even greater success in the new administration. Honorable Bawa Magaji Muhammad Pai is expected to be sworn in on a date to be announced by the chairman of the council. Well, to financial issues now. The Chairman, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Mr. Ola Olukayode, has handed over 1,452 hostel items to the Federal Ministry of Education. Mr. Olukayode, who handed the items to the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, in Abuja, said they were recovered during a major anti-cybercrime operation in 2024. According to him, the items comprise 501 double-step bunk beds, 939 mattresses, and 12 wooden beds, with mattresses recovered during a special operation codenamed Operation Eagle Flush. The EFCC boss also added that the handover was in line with the federal government's policy of deploying proceeds of crime to critical social sectors. The Minister of Education, who received the items on behalf of the federal government, commended the EFCC for the recovery effort. He pledged that the assets would be deployed to areas of greatest need, especially unity schools across the country, to improve learning conditions for students. He commended the EFCC under Olukayede, stressing that the Commission now operated within the rule of law and upheld the highest professional standards. Now, the Police Service Commission, the PSC, has dismissed 4 senior police officers and imposed various disciplinary sanctions on 31 others over acts of misconduct, reaffirming its commitment to strengthening discipline and accountability within the Nigeria Police Force. The decision was taken at the Commission's plenary meeting held at its corporate headquarters in Abuja, according to a statement by the Head of Protocol and Public Relations, Choti Njoku Kalu. The Commission Commission said the 4 officers were dismissed after they were found guilty of gross misconduct, unprofessional conduct and acts unbecoming of public officers. According to Kalu, the PSC also approved a range of disciplinary measures affecting several other officers. He said 10 senior officers were reduced in rank, comprising 3 superintendents of police demoted to deputy superintendent of police, 2 deputy superintendent of police reduced to assistant superintendent of police, and 5 assistant superintendent of police demoted to rank of inspector. 2 other officers were compulsorily retired in the public interest. The PSC spokesman noted that the disciplinary actions also included a severe reprimand of 410 officers, reprimand for 5 officers, warning letters for 3 officers, and a letter of advice to 1 officer. He said the commission, however, exonerated 7 officers after clearing them of any wrongdoing. Chairman of the commission, the IG Hashimu Salihu Arugungu, retired, reiterated the board's zero tolerance policy towards indiscipline in the Nigeria police force. Now, the magistrate court in Abuja has convicted a 26-year-old motorist, Atada Victor, for dangerous driving, assaulting an FRSC marshal and other traffic offences after they allegedly knocked down a road marshal and remanded into an FRSC petrol vehicle while attempting to evade arrest during a traffic enforcement operation in the Federal Capital Territory. The FRSC spokesperson, Deputy Corps Commander Osondu Ohere, in a statement today said the injured marshal, who sustained head and eye injuries, is receiving treatment at the National Hospital, Abuja. The court sentenced the convict to 2 weeks of community service and offered him to pay 1.08 million naira as compensation for the repair of the damaged petrol vehicle and the marshal medical expenses. Reacting to the judgment, FRSC Corps Marshal Sheikh Mohammed said the conviction demonstrates that attack